Hello students, welcome to the video of Consumers Equilibrium Part 2. Last class we had done about Consumers Equilibrium in case of single commodity. We had taken only one commodity. Today we are taking two or more commodities. Now, what is Consumers Equilibrium in case of two or more commodities? Let us check out now. A consumer is said to be in equilibrium in case of two or more commodities at a point at which marginal utility of money expenditure on both the goods are equal in symbol terms. That is, now what did we study? What is the marginal utility of money expenditure of any good? Let's say good X. What is the marginal utility of money expenditure of good X? Okay, last class we had done that MUM is the marginal utility of money expenditure. Okay, this is equal to, we had done marginal utility of X commodity divided by the marginal price of X good. Yes, so when we have two or more commodities, in case of two or more commodities, the marginal utility of money expenditure, that is on good X, okay, and the marginal utility of money expenditure, that is MUY, okay, this is for X, this is for Y, okay, and that is MUY upon PY. Yes, so this has to be equal for both the goods, which is equal to marginal utility of money expenditure. That is, whatever is the last unit of money spent on both the goods should be equal to one another. Okay, now this law is also called, and this is actually one of the most difficult laws in cardinal utility or in microeconomics, and that is law of equimarginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility in the last class, in the previous class we had done, and that was pretty easy, but this is one law which students really are, they are dreadful of. So this law is called to be as law of equimarginal utility. Law of, also another name is law of maximum satisfaction, or this law is called as Gossen's second law. Now students, I would ask you one question now. What is Gossen's first law called as? I had told you in my previous lectures. Can you please comment and tell me the answer? What is Gossen's first law called as? Okay, so these are the different names of consumers equilibrium in case of two or more commodity. Law of equimarginal utility, law of maximum satisfaction, and Gossen's second law. Now, we will be able to understand this better with the help of a table and an example. So, let us look at the table. So, we can see in this example, money income is rupees 60. Okay, so the consumer has at his disposal a money income of 60 rupees that he needs to distribute between his purchases. Okay, so he is purchasing two set of commodities. One is X and another is good Y. So price of good X per unit is rupees 10. Price of good Y per unit is rupees 5. Okay, so now let us see how do we arrive at the situation of consumers equilibrium through this table. Now there are 6 units of consumption. We have marginal utility of X commodity, marginal utility of Y commodity, and then we have marginal utility of money expenditure on X, marginal utility of money expenditure on Y commodity. Okay, so when the consumer consumes first unit of commodity, what happens? Marginal utility of X is 100. Okay, and as he keeps on increasing his consumption, his marginal utility of X commodity falls. That we know already from the law of diminishing marginal utility. Also, marginal utility of Y commodity falls. Now, we have to find out a situation wherein MUX upon PX should equalize MUY upon PY, because that will help us to equalize it with the marginal utility of money expenditure. So this equation has to be satisfied to arrive at consumers equilibrium in case of two or more commodities. So let us see MUX upon PX. Now here we have the figure of MUX, that is 100. 100 by price of good X is 10. So 100 by 10 is 10. 90 by 10 is 9. 80 by 10 is 8. And then 70 by 10 is 7. 60 by 10 is 6. 50 by 10 is 5. So we have attained marginal utility of good X upon PX. And again, similarly, we attain the figures of marginal utility of Y upon PY by dividing the figures of marginal utility of good Y by the price of good Y. That is 35 upon 5, which is 7, 30 upon 5, which is 6, 25 upon 5, which is 5, 20 upon 5, which is 4, 15 upon 5, which is 3, and 10 upon 5, which is 2. Okay, so we have now got all our figures of MUX upon PX and MUY upon PY. We need to equalize now. Now how? Now let us see one more thing, that we all should know, that income should be equal to price into quantity spent on both the goods. Okay, now let us see in this column and this column, do we find similar figures? Now here there is a 7, here also there is a 7. That is, when the consumer consumes 4 units of good X and 1 unit of good Y. Okay, so when the consumer consumes 4 units of X and 1 unit of good Y, 1 unit of Y. Okay, at that time we find that MUX upon PX is equal to MUY upon PY. Now again there is a situation when the consumer consumes 5 units of good X and 2 units of good Y. Let us write it down here. 5 units of X and 2 units of Y. Okay, now again there is another situation when there is 5 and 5. So when the consumer consumes 6 units of good X, 6 units of good X plus, 6 units of good X and 3 units of good Y, 3 units of Y. Okay, now we will have to check at which point the money income equalizes. We have our money income. What is our money income? Our money income is rupees 60. So is it satisfied here at point 1, at point 2 or point 3? Let us check. Let us check whether it is satisfied at point 1. Point 1. Let us check. 4 units of X. What is 4 into X? That is 10. 4 into 10 plus 1 unit of Y, that is 5, which is equal to 45. So 45 is not our money income. Yeah. Then again let us check condition 2. Okay. 5 units of good X, 10, 5 into 10 plus 2 unit of good Y, that is 2 into 5, which is equal to 50 plus 10, 60. So our money income is 60. Let us check the third condition also. 6 units of good X, that is 6 into 10 plus 3 units of good Y, that is 3 into 5, which is equal to 60 plus 15, which is equal to 75. Again, it is not satisfied here. So only at number 2 condition, that is when the consumer consumes 5 units of good X and 2 units of good Y, the consumer spends all his money income on both the goods and he receives maximum satisfaction. It is the point at which MUX is equal to divided by PX is equal to MUY divided by PY is equal to marginal utility of money expenditure. So at this point the consumer derives satisfaction. So this is the law of equimarginal utility. I hope students you have understood this law of equimarginal utility or consumer's equilibrium in case of 2 or more commodities. In case you have liked the content, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel Madhumita Das. Thank you so much. Meet you in the next video.